Hello and welcome to the United Kingdom of Christ Podcast Network's Bible study. I'm your host, Glenn Griego, coming to you from the beautiful Denver metro area. I want to thank you for taking the time to join me for our Bible study session. I hope these episodes have been beneficial for improving your understanding of the Bible, your spiritual growth, and strengthening your relationship with our Heavenly Father. If you'd like to connect with me, you can follow me on X, the app formerly known as Twitter. My handle is UK_Christ. You can also follow me on Instagram. My username is UK.Christ. I can also be reached via email at uk.christ@outlook.com. Please feel free to call or text as well. I can be reached at 720-805-8886. Please don't hesitate to reach out. If there's anything I can help with, I'd be more than happy to. So today we are in chapter 42 of Genesis. We are going to be covering verses 1 through 28. All right, let's knock it out. Israel sends his sons to Egypt. Israel heard there was grain in Egypt, and he told his sons, "Why are you staring at each other? I have heard there's grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy some for us, so we will not die." Then 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to Egypt to purchase grain. Israel did not send Joseph's brother Benjamin because he was afraid that he may fall into harm. The sons of Israel traveled to buy grain along with other people because the famine in Canaan was so severe. Joseph was the ruler of all the lands of Egypt. He was responsible for selling grain to all the people of the land. Joseph's brothers came and bowed down to him with their faces to the ground. Joseph saw and recognized his brothers, but he disguised himself from them and spoke to them harshly. Joseph asked them, "Where have you traveled from?" They replied, "We have come from the land of Canaan to purchase food." Although Joseph recognized his brothers, they did not recognize him. Joseph remembered the dreams he had as a child concerning his family. He accused them. "You are spies. You have come to look for undefended parts of our land." They replied, "No, my lord. Your servants have come to buy food. We are the sons of one man. We are honest men. We are your servants, not spies." Joseph accused them again. "No, you have come to look at the undefended parts of our land." They replied again, "Your servants are 12 brothers in total, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. The youngest is with our father today, and one has died." Joseph then said, "It is as I said, you are spies and you will be tested. By the life of Pharaoh, you will not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. One of you may leave to get your brother, while the rest of you are confined. This way your words will be tested to determine if there is truth among you. If not, on the life of Pharaoh, you are spies." The brothers were imprisoned for 3 days. On the third day, Joseph said, "I fear God. If you are honest men, leave one of your brothers to be imprisoned, but the rest of you may leave. Take grain to your household for the famine. Bring your youngest brother to me, so your story may be verified, and you will not be killed." Then all the brothers left and agreed, "We are guilty concerning our brother Joseph. We saw the worry of his soul when he pleaded with us, but we would not listen. Due to this, trouble has come upon us." Reuben responded, "Did I not tell you, do not sin against the boy? Yet you wouldn't listen. Now comes the payment for his blood." They did not know that Joseph understood them because he had an interpreter. Joseph turned away from them and wept. Then he returned to them and spoke with them. He took Simeon from them and bound him in their sight. Joseph ordered their bags to be filled with grain and to place their money back into their sacks. He also gave them provisions for the return trip to Canaan. They loaded their donkeys with the grain Joseph had given them and started traveling back to Canaan. One of the brothers opened his sack to give his donkey fodder at their lodging place. He saw the money in the mouth of the sack. He told his brothers, "My money has been returned. It's in my sack." Their hearts sank, and they turned to one another and trembled, saying, "What is this that God has done?" So that concludes the portion of our study for the day as far as like reading directly out of the Bible. Once again, that was verses 1 through 28 in chapter 42 of Genesis. So as we rewind and look back at it, everybody's starving. The famine is even severe in Canaan. Israel tells his kids, "Go get some food for us. Here's a little bit of money. Go buy it from Egypt. That's where they have it." So they go ahead and they head on down there. Lo and behold, guess who's actually the one that is distributing the food, that is in charge of all the land of Egypt? Their brother Joseph, whom they sold off into slavery. And they had no idea what had happened to him. And by this time, Joseph had changed quite a bit, right? He's now living in a new culture, living amongst new people. He is dressed to the T's because he's Pharaoh's number one right-hand man. And I do believe that he probably took on the Egyptian look, right? So he's looking like an Egyptian leader as well. So he recognizes them, but they don't recognize him. And although he comes at them extremely strongly and harshly, as it tells us, accusing them of being spies, he knows that they're not in his heart. So even though he is coming at them, he also remembered that dream that he had had, that he told them that they were all jealous of, right? They were so upset because he told them, like, look, you're all going to bow down to me. And they were very, very upset about that. So he blames them, and Joseph creates a situation. Okay, you're not spies. Your youngest brother needs to come here. At first, he says, one of you may leave to get your brother. I'm going to hold the rest of you here. And then he says, I fear God. And if you are honest men, then just leave me one brother, and the rest of you may leave with your grain to help your family through the famine. But you need to bring your younger brother to me, or youngest brother to me, so your story can be verified. If not, you're going to be killed. So all the brothers leave except one. Simeon was actually left. And the brothers are talking to each other, and this is in front of Joseph, and they're all realizing, like, hey, all of this trouble is because of what we did to Joseph. And Reuben reminds them, hey, I told you not to do this. So either way, they're on their way. But before they leave, Joseph actually gives them all the food and returns the little bit of money that they had to purchase food from Egypt and puts it back in their bag. This is very generous if you think about it. He could have done a multitude of different things. He could have killed his brothers. He could have put them in chains, made them slaves. He could have taken their money and sent them off with no food. He could have charged them double or triple for the amount. But in reality, he's very generous with his brothers. Even though he spoke to them harshly, his actions were different than his words. And then when they finally get to their lodging place, one of the brothers realizes first, like, hey, I have money in my sack. And this makes everybody even more fearful. They're wondering, like, why did the Lord do this to us? Why did God allow this to happen to us? Because they know, like, these are the Egyptians. These are the big dogs. They're the power of that area. And they know that the Egyptians could come after them and end up catching them and killing them, claiming that they stole, or a multitude of different things could have happened, right? But still, once again, the generous nature of Joseph, and although he did speak harshly to his brothers, still very generous. And from what I would think about it, or what I pull from it, what I gather from it, even though he gave them a good tongue lashing, he was very generous and forgiving. His actions spoke forgiveness to me. I want to thank you again for taking time out of your day to join me for our Bible study session. I'm Glenn Griego, your host of the United Kingdom of Christ Podcast Network. Feel free to reach out. I can be called or text at 720-805-8886. You can send me an email at ukchrist@outlook.com. You can also follow me on X, the app formerly known as Twitter. My handle's UK_Christ. Thank you so much. God bless.